All right, good morning, everybody. I'm Corey Orsini. I'm the manager of testing services, and I'll be hosting this session today alongside Erica Reyes. And we also have a special guest speaker towards the end today. We are recording this, so if you want to go back and view things in it, there's a lot of information that we're going to be sharing, so please feel free to do so. You could also reach out to me. Don't mind sending this out to anybody who needs any information that's provided in this presentation today. So this is all things testing services, updates, information, and FAQs about testing services. We'll get going here. All right, so our agenda for today, we'll go over some staff intros real quick, hours and locations, what we offer, testing guidelines, test security, placement testing, accommodated testing, our submission portals, register blast, which has to do with our guest speaker, contact info, and Q&A at the end. Hopefully we have time for that. Also, Erica will be monitoring the chat, so if you do have any questions that you want to put in the chat throughout, and if you don't want to wait till the end, if your question pops in your head at that time, please feel free to throw it in the chat, and Erica should be able to answer that question for you. All right, so here is our testing services support and staff. Like I mentioned, Erica is co-hosting this with me today. She's the Director of Academic Intervention and Accommodation Services. Myself, Corey Orsini, the manager. We have a what was a testing specialist. The role is currently vacant, but it will be soon a testing and accommodation specialist. So we're very excited about that to take place here in testing services. And we also have two lead testing assistants, a testing associate, and then we have one full-time testing assistant and multiple part-time testing assistants. One reason I wanted to mention this kind of the staff, just so everybody gets to know people's names and such that work in testing services, but also we had Lamar Murphy, who worked here for at JJC for an extremely long time, over 20 years of service here, recently retired at the beginning of February. So if you visited testing services and you knew Lamar, you knew he was a ray of sunshine here. He was a fantastic worker. We were very sad to see him go, but he did retire as of February 1st. So a little bit about our locations here at main campus. We are located at A1138. Our hours are Monday through to Thursday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. The last test is administered no later than 1 hour prior to closing. For example, no more tests will be administered starting at 3:30 p.m. on a Friday. All testing also ends 10 minutes prior to closing any day that we are open. Testing services is closed Fridays and Saturdays during the summer. And then please note, we will be closed from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. On March 15th and April 19th. Those are for our department meetings to take place. Here's a few pictures of testing services if you've never visited us before. Just a few of our main proctor area and the testing lab itself, and where you can find us outside in A1138. There's some glimpses as to some of our private testing areas, our Pearson testing area, as well as our remote lab there in the bottom right-hand corner there. The bottom two pictures is our remote testing area. And then here's some more pictures of our private testing rooms. We do have 4 more private testing rooms in our main hallway. There's kind of a glimpse inside what those look at. We recently had new sound panels installed in between the fall and spring semesters to kind of help with all the noise that may be in and around that area. And then there's a picture of our ADA lockers that we have in the back area for anybody who may have any sort of larger objects, especially when it comes to those with accommodations. In Romeoville, we are located in RMA building, RMA 1039. Our hours are Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Last test administered no later than 1 hour prior to closing, which means no more tests administered starting at 5:30 p.m. And just like the main campus, all testing ends 10 minutes prior to closing. And there's a kind of a glimpse at our Romeoville location, our check-in area and our lab. as well as our 3 private room areas over there. 2 of those are dedicated to Pearson VUE testing, and the last one is for accommodation testing as well. We also have a location at City Center. We're located all the way up on the 6th floor, JCTR 6002. Right now, our hours are only 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. That's just due to some staff shortages, but we're hoping to get back there pretty soon here, at least 1 full day a week out at City Center. Same thing goes, last test administered no 1 hour prior to closing, and all testing ends 10 minutes prior to closing. I'm out there every Thursday, so if you know anybody that would like to test out there, especially placement testing, or if they want to take their test out there and they're closer to City Center, please let them know that I'm out there from 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. every Thursday. And there's kind of a glimpse at what our check-in area at City Center looks like, as well as the lab. What we offer here in testing services, we offer placement testing, iCampus exams, makeup exams, and accommodated testing. Most of those are done on a walk-in basis, with the exception of accommodated testing if you need a private room. Private rooms are scheduled through disability services. We also offer certification and specialized testing, ASE, which is Automotive Service Excellence testing, ATITs for nursing and allied health, CLEP testing, Illinois Nursing Assistant CNA testing, and Pearson VUE testing, which includes GED and non-GED testing. Some testing guidelines for those who may not be aware or maybe want to communicate that to students here on campus. All of this information is on our website, even the previous information, but obviously not everybody always reads the website or reads any sort of signs we have up. We have signs about all of this all over all of our testing centers, but please relay this information to students who are going to be coming to testing services. All students must present a physical photo ID. This is probably the biggest one for them to be able to take their exam. It cannot be a picture of it on their phone. It has to be a physical photo ID, but it can be any physical photo ID if it's for placement or for an exam. Some of the certification and specialized exams have other requirements. But for us, for a student that's taking their iCampus test or a makeup exam or placement, they just need some sort of physical photo ID. There are no exceptions to this rule, and individuals without a photo ID will not be allowed to test. That tends to be one of the more bigger, I guess more bigger, but the bigger things we turn away students for is not having a physical photo ID. A lot of them do have it on their phones. But some people just simply forget it. Some simply just don't have a driver's license, a school ID, a state ID. They just don't bring anything with them. So then they usually have to go and go get it and bring back to take their exam. Faculty picking up exams also must present a physical photo ID in order to pick up those exams. I want to make sure that that is the actual instructor that is picking up those tests and not a student pretending to be that faculty member. When emailing testing services, if you're faculty, please make sure you're using your JJC email address. That way we also know that it is in fact you that we're talking to. Exams in our testing center must be completed in one sitting. The exception to this rule is the non-writing placement test. Testers may complete that in sections of the test and take a break when they need to. Also, if somebody has an accommodation where they are allowed to use the bathroom during their exam, that would be another exception to that rule. Cell phones, iPads, smartwatches, all other electronic devices are prohibited in the testing center. Lockers are available for these items, along with any other items I'm going to mention. If a tester is caught with a device, their test may be confiscated and the incident will be reported. All cell phones must be secured in a yonder pouch in front of staff before going into a locker. Might not recognize that word yonder pouch, but I'll explain that when I get to test security and what that is. Food and beverages are not allowed in the testing center. These items must be disposed of before entering testing services. If they're allowed breaks or allowed food or water, we allow them to keep it on our counters as well. Backpacks, books, paperwork, electronic devices, hats, scarves, and all other personal items are also not allowed, and the lockers are available for those items. Same thing goes for coats and jackets. Testers are allowed to wear hoodies, sweatshirts, and sweaters. Items left in the testing center will be given to campus police. Homework is also not accepted by testing services, nor can it be completed in the lab in order to take an exam. Children, parents, or other accompanying parties are not allowed in the testing rooms. So please make sure if you know that students may have children, that they find somebody to watch those children while they are coming in to take a test, so they don't leave them unaccompanied in the hallway. Unfortunately, we have seen that happen, and we don't want that to happen. There are any children to be left unattended in the hallway while somebody's taking an exam. If a tester is observed cheating, all testing and unauthorized materials will be confiscated. We have multiple forms for this to fill out that go to the Office of Student Rights and Responsibilities, and it notifies the Dean of Students, the tester's instructor, the institution or company if it is like ATI or something like that. They'll also be notified if it's not necessarily an on-campus or makeup exam. The tester will be like I said, will be reported through the student conduct process and may be restricted from testing services for a period of time. All testers must follow the JJC Student Code of Conduct. That kind of includes that piece up there about unattended children on campus. So that's a big one. And all scratch paper and notes are collected at the end of an exam unless it's otherwise noted by instructor. Test security, something I wanted to cover here. I mentioned Yonder pouches in the last couple slides. We began using these Yonder pouches prior to the start of the spring semester to further prevent unauthorized use of cell phones in our computer labs. They're extremely easy to use. Probably one of the least invasive ideas we've ever had as far as test security goes and preventing cell phones from entering the lab. You see the image here on the right-hand side that the student, they receive their pouch with their locker key, and then they simply lock up their phone in that pouch. And they place that in their locker along with the rest of their belongings. When they leave, they can unlock their pouch at one of our unlocking stations. We have unlocking stations in front of every proctor. It's just a simple, easy way for students to not be able to try to sneak in cell phones into the lab. The pouch is pretty large, so even if they brought it in there with them, it still wouldn't even matter because they wouldn't be able to open it and they wouldn't be able to access their phone. And so it's been pretty successful so far. In the last couple months we've been using it, we've had zero to very little pushback on it. I think the biggest case was somebody having two phones, and then we just simply gave them two pouches. Other than that, we have not heard anything from students as far as any sort of negative feedback regarding the pouches. Actually, most are quite interested in them and think it's a pretty neat idea. So also, as far as test security goes, we do walkthroughs at least every 30 minutes through the lab. We have school view on all Proctor computers to be able to closely watch what students are doing on their computers. And we have security cameras on and are recording 24/7. That includes large TVs for the staff to monitor, and we have the ability to review any footage when we need to. Placement testing on campus. On-campus placement testing is available on a walk-in basis. We currently offer remote placement exams only for students with accommodations. So there is a link for that on our website, and it does direct them to disability services. These remote placement exams are by appointment only, and students must be approved by disability services before we create that appointment. So they reach out to them, disability services reaches out to us, and then we reach back out to the student to schedule those appointments. All testers must have already applied to JJC and must have a JJC student ID and JJC email address in order to take a placement test. These are computerized, untimed proctored tests offered through Accuplacer and ALEX. Accuplacer for English, the reading of writing, and ALEX for math. They determine your placement in English, math, English for academic purposes. So there is ESL, ELL version of the exam, foreign language, and other courses and programs. We also offer the geometry exam, which is through Accuplacer as well. We also do placement testing at the high schools. We offer this to high school students to take the opportunity to take their placement tests through our testing services. Students can take offsite and on-campus placement exams to meet the course requirements needed for their dual credit courses they're taking at their high school. We do offsite testing. It is available to all College District 525 high schools and allows students to complete their placement test during their local high school hours. These sessions are scheduled and set up, conducted by our testing associate. We recently, last week, our new testing associate started, Rachel Olson. So if you are involved in any of the high school testing or dual credit, you'll be meeting her fairly soon here. I mentioned accommodated testing earlier. Any student requiring an accommodation for their test, regardless of test type, needs to contact Disability Services to have their accommodations reviewed and approved. This is extremely important that they go and visit Disability Services first, because we do get students from time to time. Maybe they did talk to them, but they think they have certain accommodations that they were not approved for. So it's very important that these students are aware of and talk to Disability Services before coming to visit us, so they're aware of what accommodations they're approved for and if they have any at all. Typical testing accommodations include, cannot be limited to, extended test time, private room, distraction-free testing, use of a reader, use of a scribe, students that are expected to take the class at the same time as their test at the same time as their class. They come down and visit us during that same time period. Usually those students are ones that have extended time or maybe even a private testing accommodation. So they come in and they take it at the same time as their class. Students with extended time accommodations cannot be forced to take a test at a specific time if that time overlaps with another class. So there's just a small list of our testing accommodations. Well, there's way more than that. And so if you ever want to know more information about testing accommodations, you can feel free to reach out to us or Disability Services. I want to talk a little bit about the JJC, My JJC portal and testing services. So testing services is in the employee resource section and at the very bottom of the drop-down menu. On that page is where we have our makeup exam submission forms and our iCampus submission forms. Please remember, iCampus submission forms are for your full class, while makeup exam submission forms are for individual students. Same thing, the makeup submission form is also the accommodations submission form. They're one and the same. So make sure that when you're submitting for an individual student, whether it's a makeup or an accommodation exam, you're doing it through that portal, and full classes are for the iCampus submission portal. There is a 48-hour wait window for those students with accommodations, so Disability Services can approve their accommodations before they come into test. If it's just a makeup exam, there is no wait period. You can fill it out and have it be day of. Nothing changed there. Some important details regarding the exam submission portals. Please take a moment to double check all passwords on the form. This is extremely important. We take a lot of efforts in trying to make sure that we can contact instructors, but sometimes we cannot contact or get a hold of an instructor that gives us an incorrect password in their submission form. So please double check that your password is the same as it is on the submission form as it is on your testing platform. Invalid passwords are another big reason why students are turned away from testing services. Sometimes it takes a while to get a hold of the instructor. We always encourage the student to reach out to the instructor as well as us. So hopefully at least one of us will get a hold of somebody as soon as we can, but we're not always fully successful in doing so. Testing services staff does not have access to view and edit dates within the testing platforms, so make sure that those dates coincide with the dates that you put in for your exams in the submission portals. Make sure that the dates are submitted, like I said, that they match the exam and is available to launch that day. Test deadlines are not allowed to be on Saturdays or Sundays. That's due to limited hours, limited staff, and lack of IT support. Please make sure that your test files do not include answer keys. That's a big one. It happens every now and then. We'll end up seeing answer keys in those test files. And make sure if you need a paper pencil test or there is some sort of paper element to that exam, please make sure you're attaching it to your test, whether it's an iCampus submission or it's a makeup exam submission. If you have any questions about any of your submissions, you need dates changed, you need other instructions changed, you need any changes, please reach out to myself or testing services staff, and we can help you make those changes in the portal. Students may elect to take any test submitted to testing services at any of the JJC campuses, includes main campus, Romeoville campus, or Sydney Center campus. So please remember this detail when selecting how you want your exams back. If you want them back interoffice mail, that's kind of an easy one. But if you want to pick them up, please include like a separate note that if somebody's taking it at Romeoville or City Center, that you would like it mailed to you. And then please, make sure you, like I said, if you have any questions about any of this portal process, please reach out to me, reach out to testing services, and let us know. I kept this section a little shorter than it was in the past, just because I want to talk about the future of submission of exam submissions and scheduling and everything like that. In order to kind of squeeze that in, I left out a few details. So like I said, if you have any questions, please let me know. So the future of testing services. These current portals are old, they're outdated, they're kind of a little archaic. They're also holding IT back from a full portal transition. After exploring new options, we have landed on a new scheduling and submission platform for testing services. We will be moving to Register Blast, hopefully starting in summer of 2024. Schools all over the country use Register Blast. We were semi-introduced to them last year through Adam Woke and Disability Services, but then myself and Erica attended the NCTA conference in August and attended their session. Their session was packed full of people. It was standing room. It was amazing. We even went to like a smaller side session that we signed up for afterwards. And even after that first session, I told Erica, I was like, if we don't hop on this, we're gonna be behind the times. So I think it's a fantastic software that they have here with Register Blast, and I think it'll be great for the future of testing services. We recently did acquire a contract that has been approved, and we're in the build process for our Register Blast sites. So how does this help and change things? Moving from so we are currently in an exams per day format for like approvals of exams, which we started doing this semester, which is with an exception that is placement testing. But we're going to go from that to an appointment-based format, appointments for students. A Register Blast will be integrated with Canvas, also known as iCampus to some. I know not everybody knows Canvas. Some people know iCampus, so make sure I reference both there. It will also help us better control the flow of students and number of seats we have available. This goes for iCampus, makeup, placement, all TEAS exams, any of our other certification exams we do at any of the campuses here at JJC. It puts a little bit more responsibility on the students when it comes to their exam. They'll have to schedule an appointment in order to come in and take their test. But it also improves students to come in and test early rather than waiting until the last minute. Right now, with our walk-in only basis for exams, we see a massive flow of students coming in on that final day, the day the test is due, and kind of why we had to move to that exam per day format, kind of controlling when exam due dates were due to the massive overflow of students coming in on those due dates. This is also going to improve accommodations for testing, as well as that it gives the faculty a little bit more control over their exams. As faculty, you'll have your own landing page with only your courses and your students. Same thing with students, they'll only be able to see their exams and their classes within Register Blast. So as far as Register Blast goes, we do have Terry Moore here from Register Blast to give a little presentation. So I'm going to stop sharing here and let Terry take over. Terry, are you still with us? Are you able to share?
Not seeing her, Corey. Let me.
I allowed her mic to be, it wasn't allowed, even though we thought it was all set up and it wasn't. But
I'm
now we can
here
hear
now.
Oh, there you
Yay.
go.
We can hear you now, Terry.
Okay, great. I do not have the share capability yet.
All right,
if somebody can let me do that.
Get that set up.
And while we get Terry set up, if anyone has any questions, you could definitely put them in the chat. I'm available and to answer any questions you may have about the presentation or anything testing really related.
His presentation was so thorough, they have no questions. Okay, I can share now. Look at that. Okay, let me share the right screen here. Okay, so what I thought I would share with you today, hello everybody, I thought I would just give you a glimpse into what the professor portal is going to look like for you as professors sending in exams for the testing center. I am on my demo site, and so you never know what's going to show up on a demo site, but we're hoping it's all good. So the screen that you're seeing right here is I have impersonated a professor, and this is the exams that the professor has put in. Some have been approved, so you can see once the testing center has approved it, so it goes live for the students to register for. This one has not yet been approved yet, so maybe they have a question about it and they haven't got back to me about it, or maybe they just haven't got to approving it yet. So you can go in and see when they've approved it. Once they approve that exam, it goes live for the students. And then the students can register for those exams. In your professor portal, you simply are going to click on this plus sign up here in the top, and you're going to answer questions. You're going to put in your exam name. You will be attached to the exam group that you need to submit your exam for. You're going to put in your start dates and your end dates. I'm not going to do a full training. I just kind of want to give you some little details about it. For the exam, how long the exam is. This one is really important because if I put in 60 and the student gets double time, the system is going to do that calculation for that student. And so they're going to get 120 minutes. So they're not going to be able to schedule at 5 o'clock if you close at 6. That the system is going to manage all of that for the testing center so that they don't have to. All of those things are going to be managed. You're going to, if it's a paper exam, you can attach it here. If you have to attach function sheets or something like that as well, you can attach them here. You can attach more than one file. And then you're going to go through, you're going to answer all your questions that the testing center needs to know from you about the exam. There is this section here that if there's certain materials that the students can bring register for the exam. So they're kind of tying the things together so that the students get the information from the professor. So it's not that the professor only has to communicate it during testing, during class, that they can take a calculator or they can have an open book, but they're going to get it on their receipt as well. So double notification, that's always good for your students. You're going to go through the process, you're going to answer all their questions and submit the exam. Once you submit the exam, then the testing center has the ability to either make it go live immediately or they can approve it first before it goes live. The dates and times that the students can register for have to, they will be what the testing center has allowed. So if they're open from 9 to 5 on Monday through Thursday, and you have put in, exam times during that time, then the student can schedule. If you put in Saturday and they're not open, the student is not going to see Saturday as an option. So it's managed by the testing center's availability hours. Once you've put in your exams, you can see your student history. You'll be able to come up here to history and you'll be able to see who has signed up for the exams, whether they have, they've just signed up for the exam, or this student is checked in, they're testing today, or they have not, if they didn't show up, it'll show no show here. The testing center is going to be able to send your exam. So if it's a paper exam and they need to send something back to you, they can scan it into their computer and send it back to you through your Register Blast portal. You'll simply just go to this little icon at the next to each student and pull that into your computer, and then you don't have to go get it. It doesn't have to come through email or campus mail, whatever that happens to be. It's going to come in through your professor portal. No one else can get into your professor portal. This is your professor portal. We have lots of help. So if you're having questions about how to do something, you can come in here and check out that help. And you can set your profile of how much you want notifications. So if you are someone who doesn't want to know every time a submission changes, you can come in here and change your settings. The testing center is going to set some settings that they want to use, but you're going to have the ability to set some settings yourself that work for you. So that is what the professor portal looks like. Corey, tell me what else you want me to show them. You want me to show them the student profile portal and see what that kind of looks like, or what direction you want me to go?
Yes, that would be perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to show you what it looks like for a student. A student is going to click on a link in LMS. They're in their course. They're going to click on a link that is their that says, I need to take a test. They're going to choose which campus they're going to test at. They click on that link and they're going to come to this page. They doing the LMS, they are not going to have to go through this process of choosing academic exams and choose your semester and choose your let's say this would be course name and number if you do the LMS. So you're associated with the course. The student is going to be taken to all the way to this point where they see just the exams that are connected to their course name and number for that semester. So they're not going to have to go through this big long list and find it. They're just going to find the exams that are attached to the courses that they're taking presently. So the student simply is going to click on their exam that they need to take. If they are an accommodated student, accommodations will be built into the system with their accommodations. They don't just get a great list and say, oh, I want that one and that one. It will be only the accommodations that they have been assigned. And then they can, depending on how the testing center sets it up, they can all be optional or they can be required. The testing and accessibility department will make those decisions. And then, so like if I choose that I want time and a half on this exam, the system in the background just said, we close at 6, so make sure that this is going to end before that time. And so I'm going to go in and I'm just going to choose my date. Let's see. Oh, this one's available in March. And I choose my time. This information will already be filled in because they came in from the LMS. They're already signed in. They don't have to worry about another password, another username, that sort of thing. They're just going to answer any questions that the testing center is asking them for this exam. So like right here, they're asking for a student ID. So I'm going to put that in. The students can upload things. They can download things, all depending on what the testing center wants to find out from the students. If you turn on texting, then the students will do texting. They go down to the bottom, they agree to the instructions, and they add to cart. So it's a really easy process for the students. Can everyone see this? Okay. It's a really easy for your students to sign up for their exams. So that is what that looks like. And they're going to get an email. They're also going to get a reminder email one day before. So if they're scheduled for an exam on Thursday at 10 a.m., they're going to get an email Wednesday morning, like 3 o'clock in the morning, so they can check their exam. And they need those reminders. If you do texting, then they get a text 24 hours before the time of their exam. So there's all kinds of settings in Register Blast that is going to help the testing center help your students in their testing process. So this was just a quick glimpse of the professor tools and what it looks like for the students. We're going to help the testing center all through the process of getting this set up, and we're going to let you guys are going to be running with this in September, in the summer, and you're going to love it.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Terry? Questions about Register Blast? Anybody? See a lot of thank yous to Terry. I see that, we're excited to have Register Blast. So that's good. It doesn't look like anybody necessarily has any questions at this time for you, Terry. So thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
For joining us today. So I'll get back to my presentation here. All right.
Thank you, Terry.
You are so welcome.
All right, so here is a bit of, I'm assuming everybody can still see my screen, but here is a bit of contact information for testing services. So here's our website, jjc.edu/testing. You can reach us by phone. There's all the numbers for all of our different campuses. By email, testingservices@jjc.edu. This goes to the entire staff, including myself and Erica. And then there's my email address, my extension, and Erica's email address and her extension as well. As far as that goes, does anybody have any questions for us?
And we have Corey, myself, Terry, as well as Adam. So any questions about testing with accommodations, Register Blast, placement, we can answer any questions you may have. We wanted to make sure we left room for questions.
I see one question here from Jason Ultravug. Will students still have to show their ID once we switch to Register Blast? Yes, they'll still have to show their ID once we switch to Register Blast.
And I know Terry kind of mentioned this a bit, but just the process as well of how it's going to assist Adam and Disability Services and their team It's going to be, we're really excited about that as well because it's going to allow for more seamless upload of student accommodations. So it's not as manual and labor intensive as it is now. And so it'll really link to students as they come into the testing center. So I think all around it checked a lot of boxes, not just the portal, but hopefully giving faculty more visibility and flexibility for their own, having their own dashboard, being able to look at their exams submitted when they're available, when they're taken, but also helping disability services in that transition as they're assigning students accommodations. And then, of course, helping us with the student traffic. So, we're excited, a lot of work. There's still a lot of work ahead, just getting our site set up, but we're definitely excited about the transition. And
Right. If nobody else has any other questions, I do have a QR code. If everybody could scan this and input the code yellow, just so and complete the survey regarding our session. I'm sure you completed this from the other sessions today, and it's the same exact survey. Just make sure you put that keyword in yellow and fill out that survey for us. Like I mentioned, if anybody wants a copy of this presentation or more information, visit our website, ask me for the presentation. This is also being recorded. So there's a lot of different ways that you can still get this information if you missed something during it. So I'll leave this up here for a few more minutes, but thank you so much for attending today and enjoy the rest of your day.
Corey and I can stick around for